This is the enhanced version of the Jeff Rubin Show. What makes it so enhanced? I don't like your tone, but I'm going to tell you anyway. The enhanced version includes pictures, which means that when you hear this noise, take a look at whatever you are using to listen to the show, because there is a picture I want to use to visually demonstrate what we're talking about. And with that, let's start the show. Welcome to the Jeff Rubin Show. I am Jeff Rubin, joined this week by Ben Rodgers from UCB.
Yep. Hi. How you doing?
And Pat Cassels from College Humor. And
hi. Thanks for having me.
And I don't know about you guys, I'm a little sick of like the year-end 2011 list, so I thought instead, let's look forward a little. Let's talk about the movies we're most excited about for 2012. And as far as I can tell, there are three big ones looming on the horizon, which are obviously The Dark Knight, The Avengers, and The Hobbit. Those three, I think, are probably the number 1, 2, and 3 highest-grossing movies of next year, unless something else happens, right?
There might be a really good doc that comes out.
So what we're going to do is we're going to do Fahrenheit 9/12. So what we're going to do is we're going to spend 10 minutes on each of those three movies, and then we'll do kind of a lightning round for the second half of the show and fire through the rest of the crap. Do you remember when Fahrenheit 9/11 made like $100 million? Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, that came out in like regular movie theaters.
Yeah, it was so it made like $100 million. It's all like Bush is lying. It was like there's some like really deep conspiracy theory stuff.
Yeah, it had a really great commercial too.
I remember watching it. If you watch it now, it's like a crazy person made it. But at the time, I think I was like, however old, I was the perfect age where I was like, yeah, man, fuck Bush. Which I still feel like.
I just remember Ray Bradbury was really mad that they used Fahrenheit 9/11.
Oh, really?
Like, I never gave my approval of this.
You think he would not condone censorship like that?
Yeah. It seems unlike him.
He wanted every copy of the movie burned.
I think if there's a natural follow-up to opening the show talking about Fahrenheit 9/11, it is The Dark Knight. Coming out next year, I'm going to start the clock. We're going to talk about Dark Knight for 10 minutes, because we could talk about Dark Knight for like an hour. We're going to limit ourselves. So here we go. I'm going to press start. Here's the thing about The Dark Knight. It's got such an impossibly high standard to live up to. Could it possibly not disappoint everyone?
Oh, I think a lot of people are going to be disappointed.
Yeah, there's already the whole Bane, not being able to hear Bane thing.
Can you explain that briefly, the not being able to hear Bane thing?
Well, it's like and
we're on the clock, so...
No, there was... what movie is this again? Sorry.
You're blowing it.
No, in the 6-minute preview that came before Mission Impossible 4, there's a scene which is amazing,
which was really awesome.
I thought it was mind-blowing, and however, it is kind of difficult to hear Bane, but that's like such a I don't know, I think they know what they're doing.
If that would have come out... If this was the first Batman movie, and people just saw that, everybody's fucking minds would be blown. Instead, people are already nitpicking that.
Yeah.
Like, why has he got the blood?
It's just incredible. I mean, Mission Impossible 4 was a good movie, and there's some great... The action sequences in particular were very good, but like I feel like nothing in that movie even compares to like...
No one was talking about it who saw it in IMAX, who saw the pro.
I love Mission Impossible, but you're right that afterwards we're all like, Batman? Batman?
It just feels like he just knows how to spend money.
I mean, the thing about Bane's voice is that's like, it's such a big, like, I imagine Christopher Nolan's gonna make the movie intelligible. Like, he just made Inception in the other Dark Knight movie.
Oh, you couldn't hear him?
It's not like a student film where it's just gonna be like poorly lit or something.
Yeah.
That was so incredible.
Yeah, we fucked up with the mics. I still haven't figured that out yet.
I'm kind of, because of Mission Impossible and because of that Dark Knight preview, I'm kind of getting more into the IMAX as opposed to 3D. And you can do both at the same time. But if I had to pick one of the two, I'm a little more into the IMAX stuff right now. And I remember when the Batman previews, I still never remember what to call it. Dark Knight Rises is the next one, right? Mm-hmm. When the Dark Knight Rises preview started, there's just this establishing shot of an airplane flying in front of these mountains. And it's in IMAX, and I went to the Lincoln Square IMAX, which is the only true IMAX in New York City. It's this enormous...
Let's not even get started on that.
Right. We'll leave that. We're on the clock. And it started...
We haven't even talked about the fucking movie yet.
But I remembered like going to Liberty Science Center, what's up, Central New Jersey, and field trips. Dude, you shut it out. And there'd be like, when you go see IMAX, and for so long, IMAX was awesome, but it was all like boring movies about like blood vessels and like history. And you were just like, why can't I be seeing a good movie? And I kind of got that. I kind of remember that when this movie started, because there's this establishing shot which looks like really naturey. It looks like something you'd see at the Liberty Science Center. But then I'm like, oh yeah, they did it. Now I'm watching a Batman movie.
Yeah, I mean, I have faith in him. There were certain parts of the first two that I thought my least favorite parts of at least the last Dark Knight movie were the Batman scenes. Like, I feel like everything else around the movie is so much better. I feel like the Joker, he's really good at picking the villains.
He's bad at pacing the fight scenes.
Bad at pacing the fight scenes?
Yeah, I feel like it's way too zoomed in and cut together too fast, where you can't tell really what's happening. That's my only gripe with maybe the previous.
Yeah, and I think in The Dark Knight, people, other than maybe that one Tumblr chase, no one ever really talked about like the fight scenes in the movies. There's which is kind of cool for an action movie, though, to be like, they're talking about the performances and like the themes, like the anti-capitalist themes or whatever that are like inherent.
I'm worried they're gonna go overboard with the like Occupy Wall Street.
It does look like that's a little bit. When we had Will Brooker, who was the guy who wrote his PhD about Batman, when he was on this podcast, he talked about how Batman always reflects what the era that it's made in, and how, you know,
he's the 1%, man.
There's the Joker was all about terrorism, and the last few movies were about terrorism. Just from the previews, it does look like there's a lot of protests and Batman out there in the street, and there's that huge scene, and there's footage of them shooting this in New York, like people just from their apartment shooting like these huge riot clashing scenes. So it does seem like that's something this movie's going to try to address, which should be kind of cool. Also, the Batmobile flies now. Do you guys see the flying Batmobile?
Is it the Batmobile? Is that a different vehicle, or is it the Tumbler?
I'm not sure. I don't know.
Either way, it's real cool.
But it's fun to be able to speculate, like, what themes will the movie address, and is the flying Batmobile a Batmobile, or is that a Batplane? There's very few movies.
Yes, it's definitely the first Batman movie where I've ever wondered what themes are going to come across in it.
Yeah.
Remember where it used to be like, maybe Mr. Freeze will be in it.
Yeah, it's like who are the villains going to be this time around?
Yeah. What about? There hasn't been much Catwoman in the previews.
No,
yet.
yeah.
Wouldn't it be amazing if they recast Schwarzenegger as Mr. Freeze?
Oh, like
again?
they brought him back.
They brought him back, but just in a different context.
And no one's like, well, I just thought, he's at the back. No one topped that performance, and I wanted to get Mr. Freeze in here.
I went to the Wikipedia page for Bane after seeing that preview, because after I consume something, I have to go to the Wikipedia page for it. And they had they have Bane in other media, and I was like looking, because they did something cool with him in the animated series, which I think we've already talked about on this podcast. But it's so funny looking at the picture from Batman and Robin, where Bane was just like, I mean, he was just like...
He was some like S&M, like sex slave kind of. He had a studded like neck, like
a yellow
collar.
handkerchief in his back pocket.
I think he was a pro wrestler. He was portrayed by a pro wrestler. And he looks so goofy with all the latex, and it's so funny to see that next to like the Tom Hardy Bane, like to see how they try to interpret it versus what Chris Nolan's doing. It's so, I think whatever Chris Nolan does with Bane here is going to be like the new version of Bane. I think it's going to establish the character in a lot of people's minds for future generations of Batman stories.
He's also smart to like kind of go down as the sort of original Batman movies did. You kind of go down the line of supervillains, or all comic movies kind of do this, like, to try and have some legitimacy. You start with the mortal villains, and then but then by the last movie you have Mr. Freeze and Poison Ivy, who have essentially have superpowers of certain, at least Mr. Freeze does,
Yeah, like how in the first Spider-Man movie, it's Green Goblin, who's another guy who's also got,
some gizmos.
Yeah, and then by Spider-Man 3, you've got like a dude who turns into sand.
Right. That movie made no sense.
But the one thing about The Dark Knight Rises is that I remember there were back in there, Ra's al Ghul's in it again, I think, and someone took pictures of the Lazarus Pit, which I learned all this after the fact. I didn't grow up reading Batman comics or anything, but from what I understand, it's a pit that, like Lazarus brings you back to life,
right,
which seems oddly magical for the Christopher Nolan Batman franchise. So I'm wondering how they will work that in.
A lot of people have asked, do you think that Bane is going to break Batman's back? Because that's what Bane is famous for in the comic books. There's that huge, a really famous cover is that one where Bane is breaking Batman's back over his knee. And that's a landmark event in the comic books. It was a huge, it was a huge sales event type thing. But the way he came back was, I mean, obviously they're not going to end the movie with Batman crippled. I
don't know.
Maybe
hiring some guy.
But
it's Nolan's last one, so he could do he might just be like, whatever, deal with it, next guy.
Well, in the comic book, Batman was eventually rejuvenated by this psychic healer, and there was kind of an element of mysticism.
Didn't he get a cyber suit for a brief period?
The guy who replaced him, Azrael had a cyber suit.
it was kind of stupid. But the lead up to that was great, and I hope they do that. I mean,
it looks like there's a scene. What Bane did in the comics was like wear Batman down. He releases everyone from Arkham. So the whole lead up was like Batman fighting all his villains at once.
Everybody, he's exhausted.
And then it culminates with Bane. And it looked like there was a scene in the trailer where he was releasing people from prison. Maybe right? That was in there.
Oh my god! You know, it'd be amazing if he did that in the movie, and then like he's fighting all his old villains, and Heath Ledger comes back, and like Chris Nolan and him are like, we planned this all out. He's been alive for the last 4 years.
He destroyed his relationship and stopped being a parent, but it was worth it. This will be the greatest cinematic event of all time.
It's amazing because that would not hold like until that secret could not keep until the movie came out. You know, like,
It would be so.
All the actors have to pretend.
It would be so amazing.
I feel I always roll my eyes when I see like commercials and like when this preview came up for The Dark Knight, because I think if there's any movie in the history of cinema that they didn't have to advertise for at all, it's like when they put this thing before Mission Impossible. I was like, oh good, I was really on the fence if I was going to see The Dark Knight or not. Let's see how this 6 minutes goes.
The cool thing about Christopher Nolan is that like it's like Inception's this. I feel the same way about it. It's like who else is playing in that league, spending that much money, making huge blockbusters, but their movies are not based on. Well, I guess Batman is, but you know, like Inception was like one of the top grossing movies of the year, and it's a totally original idea. And like I don't know, he's just like
I'll tell you the other one is. It's James Cameron. So I hate to say it, but it's James Cameron.
That's true. Yeah, no.
Kevin Smith.
Well, we're gonna talk about Red State too, right?
Is that happening? I think.
No, I don't. Probably not.
That's out.
I don't know. We still have 50 seconds. What do you guys? What else about Batman? What do you guys got?
What do you think? Thoughts for the next Batman?
It's
Who will
really
direct
hard
it?
to imagine like the Amazing Spider-Man of Batman movies. Like, how do you follow up this trilogy? I don't envy that job.
It's going to be terrible.
It won't be Chris Nolan, right? He's not going to do it.
He says no, and like, why would he when he can literally do anything he wants and no one's going to
I
stop
bet
him?
they'll do like a Frank Miller.
Yeah, you have to like go. You can't like
It'd
for
be cool
in terms
if they
of
did like Batman Beyond or Dark Knight Returns or some alternate take on it.
yeah, because like he owns that the look of Batman, and like just from pure spectacle, you're not going to beat Chris Nolan.
Get an old guy, get like Clint Eastwood in there for Dark Knight Returns. It's an elderly Batman. That's a new take on
Then he
it.
can sing the song at the end. Batman. Gran Torino.
All right, that is time. That is.
I mean, I think we basically we solved Batman: The Dark Knight Rises.
There was a lot of Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Like, what character?
Oh yeah, we're out of time though.
We're out of time.
I'm afraid for talking about it after time has ended, you actually lose 5 points.
Oh no! Well,
You
I'll make up for it in the speed
You
round.
can if you're listening, just email me and I want to talk about Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
I'm sure this is the last time we'll ever talk about The Dark Knight on this podcast. So we got to move on to the Avengers, the other big comic movie. Seems like it couldn't be more different, really.
Yeah.
Let me start the clock. Hold on. Now I lost 3 points for that. I lost 3 points.
That's just 3?
That's just 3. It's the rules. I'll show you the rules afterwards, which doesn't make sense. All right, here we go. Avengers couldn't be more different from The Dark Knight. It's like a big silly movie with all these movie stars being like, that's what the movie's gonna be.
Yeah, I mean, like, I know we're not done. I'm only talking about Dark Knight in
Right, we're not talking
context
about it
here,
anymore,
but it's like it just puts all other comic movies to shame.
It really does. I'm looking forward to the Avengers. I'd probably be dreading it if it wasn't for one man, Joss Whedon, who gives me faith in the project. I think we talked about this when you and I did our summer movie wrap-up, Pat. I just like everything. I don't think Joss Whedon's ever made a bad thing. I mean, there's bad parts of things, but
yeah.
there are always something to it, and there's always good. I'm really looking forward to it.
But he's also never... Everything he's ever done, it's been his thing, and he's sort of been the main creative force behind it. This, you almost get the sense he's partially just a hired hand
Yeah,
here.
me too. I'm worried at a certain point there's almost nothing he can do about it. I feel like it's such a huge product that they just slapped his name on it, and ultimately maybe he doesn't have total control. But I hope he does.
But then you see like
I'm going to see it anyway.
Mission Impossible 4, like, you can kind of... I imagine if it wasn't Brad Bird, that movie probably would not have been as good,
No.
So there's definitely a
You can
connection.
feel the Brad Bird in there.
I don't know.
The bird.
What is here's the thing. I almost feel like Marvel has already won just by making this movie exist.
It's amazing.
It's
it's
incredible
amazing.
that this movie is coming out like with all like this is like the culmination of like a decade of movie making. And I don't know that necessarily this is how movies should be done or this is a good thing, but I think it's cool. I think like they were like, we're gonna make an Avengers movie, and they built all the pieces, and god damn it, they're doing it.
I feel like for better or worse, all our childhood fantasies are slowly coming true over the
Right.
past 5 years, where every wild dream that you could ever have of what if this guy was in a movie with this guy? It'll never happen. Now it is happening,
Yeah.
and oftentimes it's really terrible.
You should just have two giant hands controlling all the actors and just mashing them together. Iron Man and Thor are fighting each other.
I'm a little worried. I mean, the main thing is just that it feels like it's going to be overcrowded. I mean, just mathematically, there can't be more than like 10 minutes for Hawkeye in the movie, you know? Just
right.
When you have that many characters, like, you can, like, there's just not going to be that much of any one person. Or maybe, and I think you had put forward this year, maybe it's basically going to be Iron Man 3 with a supporting cast, or maybe it's Thor 2 with a supporting cast. But I imagine, like, you're gonna be left wanting more from a lot of different characters, or less from others. Black Widow.
And the villain is the villain from Thor, right?
Yeah, Loki.
Like, why does that villain get to be the villain?
Yeah.
Like,
I thought that was
why
a cool
not?
choice, actually.
Why not Obadiah? You know?
I feel like they can. I feel like they can use him as sort of the guy who controls the puppet strings, and because he is sort of this god.
Yeah, like I guess
He
Jeff
can
Bridges
control-
is not gonna.
Yeah, he can control some lesser villain.
I like Thor a lot, and I like Loki a lot, and I thought. I didn't know the actor before, primarily because he's usually in movies where there aren't like laser bolts and explosions.
Yeah.
But I thought he was good, and I thought in the post-credit sequence where they set up the Avengers and like usually you get another Thor scene, but that it was like a Loki scene, I thought was really cool and made me excited for the movie. Or maybe that was at the end of Captain America where you saw Loki. I don't remember anymore.
Do you guys think they're gonna have the butler Jarvis from the Avengers in the movie?
I don't think they have to.
I would love if he was the primary focus of the movie.
Wait, who's Iron Man's butler? Because I think they made him a robot, right? Who's the AI that was helping him?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Avengers and Iron Man are not my forte.
I would love to read an interview with that guy. I don't know his name, but
I know you're gonna say. I think it's Greg Clark, like the FBI
Greg
guy, right?
Clark, who's been because he's
that's
kind of
his
been
name,
this amazing. The last 10, he's the only common thread from the very beginning. I think maybe as early as like the first Iron Man. Maybe I don't know how far
Yeah.
back he's been appearing in these movies. So he must have signed on a long time ago. It must have been
Samuel Jackson too.
Yeah. I'm a little less excited by the Avengers. I think I like Joss Whedon, and Buffy in particular. I think is a great show, but I'm comic book movies in general. If Chris Nolan isn't making them, I feel like they've gotten very homogenous, and like I don't.
This is like
they don't excite me.
This is something new though. This is like the Uber comic book movie. They're like we're putting it all. They're putting them all together for like. But it feels that's. It almost
But you know what?
feels like,
I think you might be surprised how similar the plot's going to be to like Thor or the not Green Lantern. I know Green Lantern's a particular sore spot for you and I, but is Ron? No.
I hated that movie.
Oh, of course. We Jeff and I saw it together, and it was one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, I mean we talked about this so much. I think we talked about it on the podcast and on Nerd Alert that the Marvel movies all have this basic level of competency where like none of them are Dark Knight. Like they don't swing hard like the Dark Knight.
Yes,
but they don't miss. Like they're all at least okay. Like even Captain America, which I didn't like very much, was like it was tolerable. Like it wasn't bad.
It was my big problem with that was they were afraid to show Nazis.
Yeah.
Like they tried to have these guys who were worse than Nazis, but to me it just wasn't the same.
No one's worse than there's like no one worse
Yeah.
than Nazis. Yeah.
Have you guys ever seen the video of the what was the actor, the agent from S.H.I.E.L.D.?
Nick Fury.
The guy you brought up before. What's his name?
Greg Clark.
Yeah.
Greg
I think
Clark.
that's his name.
He hosts some military channel.
Oh, really?
A video about real robot suits that.
Oh, so he's like leveraging his his pop
He's trying to
after
use
those
his
movies.
fame, yeah,
Hey, it's
into
me,
other
that
things.
guy. What if Iron Man suit's pretty cool, but what if it were real?
I got a
I'm
feeling-
Greg Clark.
I think the Avengers is going to be just a mashup of zingers. Like, don't you think there's
there's gonna be a lot of bickering, a lot
Definitely.
of like, well, you can't even fly, and
Right.
like, stuff like that.
I think the trailer had it too, like
Yeah.
Robert Downey Jr. But yeah, there's definitely like I'm actually gonna wonder who's not gonna like who. Like who's gonna. Tony Stark probably not gonna get along with maybe like Captain America or something.
well, he's not gonna get along. Captain America's got something up his ass. He's not gonna get along with everyone.
Is Ryan Reynolds in it?
No, who would he be?
Oh right, of course he wouldn't be. No, he's not gonna be in it.
He would be the
I'm
guy
mixing my.
buried.
Well, he could be Deadpool because he was in the
Yeah,
he was
he
in the
could be
he was in
Deadpool.
Wolverine as Deadpool. So maybe they
so
could
terrible.
Maybe they could bring him back.
I think I'm mixing my comic families.
Yeah, I'm not
right?
even
It's-
sure. Do the X-Men movies, this is a very critical question, the X-Men movies share continuity with this Avengers movie continuity?
I hope not.
Do they cross over at any point?
Like X-Men First Class.
First class, yeah, like this first class in the same.
The X-Men continuity is all messed up.
Yeah, you don't want to touch the X-Men continuity if you can avoid
Hugh Jackman had that great. He had that great cameo in the first turn.
He ties First Class to the other X-Men movies, but does anything tie those to the regular Marvel movies? You know, we got a lot of time. We got to keep.
You can make one of those charts, like someone made a sitcom chart, the crossover chart, how every TV show is part of the same universe because there's so many crossovers. I wonder if you could do that with.
Oh, and it's all in the mind of the kid from
Tommy Westfall.
Sure. Yeah, I love that.
That's another road entirely. Look, this movie seems like
it's literally the most divergent thing we could talk about.
the thing, it seems like this is so the ultimate comic book movie, like getting everyone together, that it seems like almost breaking them apart. Like, you can't make an Iron Man 3 where he's not hanging out with Captain America. Like, I don't know where Marvel goes from here.
I think the nerd community is going to have, like, postpartum depression after the Avengers comes out, because it's definitely, like, a 10 years in the making thing. I don't know what the next thing will be.
I mean, I think they're making Iron Man 3. I'm sure they'll reboot Daredevil if we give them enough time.
I think this is it. I don't think they're ever going to be able to get... Unless maybe it will make enough money where it'll get too big to fail. But
Robert Downey Jr. is the only... high probably priced person in that. Like, no one's like banging on Chris Hemsworth's door, right?
I think
no offense, sir.
When we're living in the post-apocalyptic future and all walking down the road pushing shopping carts, we're gonna be like, remember when they made the Avengers? That's gonna be the height of
my God.
mankind. We made this movie and that's it. I think it's all downhill from here.
They can't get, like, are they gonna try to do another Hulk? Are they gonna go for Hulk Try 3? This will probably wait and see how people react to the various elements of the movie.
Kind of try 4 because like 3 is going to be Mark Ruffalo. Like,
well, I'm saying that they'll make another Mark Ruffalo Hulk movie. Maybe, I don't know.
It seems like at this point
cursed. Like how?
I mean, he's got to walk the land. He can't be. I don't
mean literally. I mean the movie franchise.
Yeah. Maybe. I mean
the one that the Ed Norton one, I think didn't seem any worse than like Iron Man 2 to me.
Yeah, but I didn't like Iron Man 2 very much.
Right, I just mean it's in the same.
They're all the same.
It's in that
movie.
middle.
Yeah, it's definitely in that middle ground. I prefer the Ang Lee Hulk. I have the
Ang Lee has actually gotten like it's sort of there's like a small, I guess, of which you are a part of, like apologists for that movie and people like it's.
We don't call ourselves apologists, Pat.
Yeah,
we apologize for nothing.
It's its own thing, Ang Lee. I think that's before. It's weird because like it knows it's a comic and there's a lot of like winking references and stuff. I think it's before like it came just before like the current incarnation of the comic movie that takes itself seriously.
Yeah, and I think that was a movie that it swung hard even though it didn't always hit. That's time. I got to stop there. I have a 30,
final thoughts.
Final thoughts.
I just think that Hulk movie always... Thank you for giving me that privilege. Like, we're making up the rules as we go along. that Hulk movie, I think...
I should have held out for the final thoughts of the Dark Knight. Lost me 5 points.
I just think that Hulk movie, like, tried really hard, and even though it didn't always work, that's, like, kind of trying you don't see in those Marvel movies anymore.
No, yeah.
Let's move on to one that's not coming out. Those are both summer movies, but not coming out for another full year is The Hobbit. The long-awaited prequel
An unexpected journey.
So I'm gonna start the clock. I'm probably gonna stop saying I'm starting the clock. I don't think this is really a necessary thing to talk about every time I do it. But here we go. We're talking. That trailer gave me a little more than I like. When first Hobbit trailer, I thought we'd get like an unbelievable journey and maybe like a glance of a few characters. But they went all in. They were showing like all the locations, all the characters. They got a little Smeagol at the end. They really went for it.
Yeah.
Wait, the clock started?
Yeah, the clock.
Jeff says his thing, then starts it. It's my podcast. I make up the rules.
I think the only downside is humanity won't end. You know how the whole thing ends, but they're bringing back all the big hits.
It's weird because it's The Hobbit. Have you guys? What is your familiarity with Tolkien?
I've read The Hobbit.
I was cast in a performance of The Hobbit in 3rd grade.
Who were you?
I was the Elf King, and I dropped out of the production.
I was gonna say because you don't really have the body type of a dwarf.
No, yeah,
You don't have the body type of a dwarf.
The Hobbit is so now we have I've read them, but I'm not a huge fan. I don't like read them annually or something. which some people do. The Hobbit is lower stakes than the Lord of the Rings movie.
Like, it's like you were like covering your bases there. Like, are there people that do that you're afraid of offending?
Well, I think there's people that I read it in middle school, and I know the the names of it, but I think there's people who watched the trailer and they were like, ooh, I don't even know the
Tom Bombadil.
I know, I know Bilbo and Oakenshield, but I don't know I there were shots where they were just like, and this guy's here, and I was like, I don't remember which one that is.
I cut you off though. Do you remember what you were saying?
No.
Oh no, I was wasting time.
I don't know. It's definitely not my kind of guilty pleasure. Any of the Tolkien stuff, I feel like the Lord of the Rings to me are great movies if I have the flu or something. And
really, I thought they were incredible.
I actually just rewatched Lord of the Rings for the first time since they were in theaters. I'd only seen them once upon their initial release in theaters, and I had seen them again until a few months ago. And they're pretty good movies. They're pretty awesome.
I think Return of the King particularly is just amazing.
I enjoyed them.
Yeah.
And there's something amazing about the franchise is that I feel like they're all inclusive. I feel like almost all of them I've been brought to on dates. Like girls really like the Lord of the Rings franchise.
This one will have because this one
bitches be loving Lord of the Rings.
But this one is missing not that this is the only thing girls are interested in, but there's that had the of course the Aragorn and Liv Tyler's character
Galadriel.
Galadriel was Kate Blanchett.
Wait,
Liv Tyler was Arwen.
Arwen. Yeah, right.
All right.
And
they're using a good time here, man.
Oh, I'm sorry. Anyway, that's missing from this one. I mean, it's just I think this could be I think it'll be a fun. Peter Jackson makes good adventure movies. I think this, The Hobbit's a tighter story. I think it could be fun, and suspenseful.
But it's just it's lacking, like Ben was saying, that world-ending.
I agree. Yeah.
Stakes of the first one, where really it's the entire. I want to say planet. Is Middle Earth a planet? I don't really know. Their entire universe is wrapped up in this all-encompassing conquest. If you're going to use one word to describe the Lord of the Rings movies, I'd say it's probably epic. Invented the modern day. I think that invented what we think of as an epic movie.
Sure.
And The Hobbit doesn't have that as much. I mean, obviously there's going to be dragons. It's going to be fucking awesome. But right. it's they're up to some mischief. They're just on their own little adventure.
It's definitely gonna be better, and I'm only referencing it. The Avengers. I mean, they're worlds away from each other. Yeah. I feel like. How many endings do you think The Hobbit is gonna have? Remember how many endings there were
Return of the King,
at Return of the King, where they just kept on tacking on.
I think it's just gonna be a quainter movie, as you said. But as long as he makes it the problem is Bilbo's not gonna die. Right. And Gandalf's not going to die. I think everyone else, though, I don't remember. I read The Hobbit. I don't know. I don't remember which dwarves live and die. So that hopefully, And it looks like there's kind of a little more quirky comedy in it because it's when you're meeting all the dwarfs, it's kind of Grombadil, Bombadil.
I think The Hobbit. The Hobbit is more lighthearted than The Lord of the Rings. It's just the source material, just because of what they're about.
Did you guys read that New York article a couple months, a year ago, about how Guillermo del Toro was supposed to direct it, and he was well into it.
Yeah.
It's kind of disappointing though.
This movie, it better be good because it is wrapped up. Peter Jackson and Guillermo del Toro, two amazing directors, have not made a movie for 5 years because of this fucking movie. Right. So it better be good.
And I think del Toro would have been a cool choice because he's really good at that kind of stuff. Like Peter Jackson is, but in his own way. Yeah. So it would have been a nice change up. Instead, I think we're just getting kind of another Lord of the Rings, which is fine, Both.
Yeah, very, very few people are complaining. I definitely know people who are very into Lord of the Rings, and were when that trailer came out, it was goosebumps, just that level of excitement for just another Lord of the Rings movie.
Who's playing Bilbo again?
Martin Freeman.
Martin Freeman got to play Bilbo and Arthur Dent, which are two probably
Britain's greatest literary heroes,
literary sci-fi fantasy heroes at least. Yeah,
I don't know. I think I wouldn't qualify with sci-fi. Sorry, Shakespeare.
3, if you could even count at this point his character from The Office in that The Office is in the canon of Great British stuff.
The one thing that was
right between
The one thing
Bangers and mash.
I'm really looking forward to, I was just looking at the casting for the movie, and Smaug, I think, is the dragon who's like the antagonist, is Benedict Cumberbatch, which is the most British name. I don't even know if I'm saying that right. Benedict Cumberbatch.
Oh, that's a fourth character. He played Watson as well.
Oh, yeah, he's Watson.
Yeah,
and Martin Freeman. Oh, yeah, it didn't even occur to me that Martin Freeman and Benedict Cumberbatch are in the new Sherlock on the BBC, which is written by Stephen Moffat, who does Doctor Who. And Benedict Cumberbatch is awesome on that.
But to go back to what you were saying.
Oh, yeah. He's voicing the dragon in The Hobbit, and that was missing from the trailer. Like, I want to hear how he does that, because I really enjoyed his Sherlock performance. Made me not want to see Game of Shadows. Was that even what that was called? It came out like a week ago, and I already forgot this. The new Sherlock Holmes movie, I was like, why bother? There's a much better Sherlock. And Robert Downey Jr. is obviously good, but I was like, there's a much better Sherlock Holmes coming in a month.
It's not Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah.
I mean, even some pit fighter who solves mysteries.
Right. With like a lot of steampunk elements going on.
So he was the one element that I'm kind of waiting to see. I'm interested to see where they break the Hobbit up, because they're doing the 2-movie thing.
Are they?
Oh yeah. I bet they were doing like
that's
a
like
thing.
that's not net. That book is so short.
Yeah.
It's like it's
if you can get the 2 towers in one movie, you can probably get the Hobbit in one movie.
Absolutely. That's really weird.
There's a part of me that when the Hobbit came out that wished they could have, just like we were talking about with the Avengers before, how it's kind of amazing bringing together all these things, that they could have had the foresight to say, these movies are all going to be huge hits. Why don't we shoot The Hobbit now?
Yeah.
Then in 20 years, when our actor who plays The Hobbit ages, we'll do The Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
That's like my ultimate fantasy movie.
I think maybe now someone's making a movie, starting a franchise now that we know how much audiences love seeing 3 movies rather than 1.
They love continuity. Tarantino, who we'll talk about later, has hinted in the past that he wants to do like a Kill Bill in like 20 years about Vivica A. Fox's daughter, who like witnesses the fight between Uma Thurman and Vivica A. Fox, and do a movie where like she grows up with that actress. Which I love
That'd
everything.
be amazing.
We'll hear about this soon, but I love everything Quentin Tarantino does, and that would be incredible. And it's always in the back of my mind. I refuse to let myself forget that he might do that one day. It's like always taking up just a little bit of my brain.
That would be pretty cool. I remember there was another thing I'll wait till I was with Tarantino to say this. Another one of Tarantino's weird experiments, but we'll wait for that.
The Hobbit's another one where it's like, what's the next step? Like, are they gonna do the Silmarillion?
I would think. I'm surprised that one would be. I haven't read it. From what I understand, it's like I've heard it described as the Old Testament of Lord of the Rings, and it's about a giant elf war, right? Like, I think that'd be awesome.
Yeah, I think it's just a lot of the history of that one I have not read, but my understanding is it's a lot of it's like a textbook about this fictional world.
Yeah, I think it's like the densest, most hardcore fantasy thing you could ever possibly read.
Yeah,
from
that's
what I've
above
heard.
my head.
I bet that is not true at all.
That's true. Well,
there is some fan fiction.
Mainstream, I guess I should qualify it. Yeah.
But I feel like they're gonna make it. Like I can't believe it took them. There was all sorts of. I think no one, even Peter Jackson, totally understands what made them take this long to make The Hobbit. Like it's been for like a decade now. It's been like MGM had, they went bankrupt, and they've just been going back and forth. Like it's amazing it took them this long to make it. And like,
Ian McKellen could have died.
You can sense that everyone is like all the video game makers, all the toy makers are like, all right, some new Lord of the Rings in there. Yeah, they're like in a few years they're gonna be hungry and there's no obvious next step.
Yeah.
The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe always, I think, is a better movie. No, I'm just kidding. I don't think that.
That one kind of petered off. Like that came out and like
did not make it.
Yeah, like people were excited about the first one, and then they were like Prince Caspian, and we were like, that's perfect because we stopped talking about The Hobbit a minute or two ago. All right, now we are going into the second half of the show. We're gonna be moving a little bit quicker here. So
are we in the speed round?
You gotta be a little.
You said 3 minutes each.
3 minutes
That's
each.
like such a short amount of time.
Well, we have 10 movies to talk about.
So I think I'm pretty far behind. I'll be the first one to admit it. I'm low on points.
You're low on points, but
I'm in the hole. I've blanked out. I forgot I was on a podcast for a good couple minutes while we were talking about the Avengers.
I'm nervous. I don't know how we can really get to the heart of Django Unchained in 3 minutes.
Ben's low on points, but he still has some pendants, so he's still in the game.
I have one phone a friend left.
Let's move on. We're going to talk about some of the. I can't believe this is one of the smaller movies we're going to have to talk about, describing this as small, but Men in Black 3. What do you guys think of the trailer? Pat?
I was not particularly into it, but those movies are very. Two people don't like, but I think in general it's a very fun premise. It comes off. I don't know. I don't. Oh my god! I've wasted like 20% of our time.
This is the only time where I've ever
not into it. I guess
thought a reboot might be agreed, and I think this is the only time where I ever felt like a reboot might be appropriate. Like I think Men in Black's a very rich premise, obviously, from which you can make an unlimited amount of movies, but just it seems like this one's like, what about the legacy of J and K? And like,
right.
I don't really care about that so much anymore.
Nobody cares.
They haven't made a Men in Black movie in 10 years, and that was Men in Black 2, which wasn't good.
It was so bad. And remember how they end it where he's in that stupid suit at the end?
Kind of.
Somehow, like, breaks the dread. The iconic thing about them is that they're in these black suits. Then he shows up, and he's in this pimped out suit, and he's like, all right, let's do this.
What I remember about the ending of Men in Black 2 is I think that they're, like, the whole thing's about, like, a bag in a locker or something somewhere, and then, like, at the end, it, like, zooms in, and there's, like, another universe in that. Or maybe it zooms out.
That was
like,
one. In the necklace.
Oh, maybe it happens at the end of 2. I don't know. I think at the end of the second one, maybe they're partying in a locker. It's stupid. Men in Black 3 looks like... I want to keep moving. We got limited time. It looks like Tommy Lee Jones may only be in that movie for, like, the first 10% and the last 10% of the movie.
I hope so for his sake that he only had one day of shooting and just had to say, what? Okay.
Hey, kid.
That is a pretty mean Tommy Lee Jones impression from Josh Brolin. I gotta hand it to him. Like, I don't know if I would have made a movie around it, which is apparently what they did, but when he shows up at the end of the trailer, you're like, oh, that's pretty good.
It's, the thing is, I don't know how I feel. I mean, I don't don't have high hopes for it. 2 is very bad, but 1 is extremely good, so it could really go either way.
I also feel like you can tell that Tommy Lee Jones wants absolutely nothing to do with the franchise, and they have been trying to figure out all this time, how can we still make a movie with it? Just like Alien 4.
But that's just it, like, you know what, Will Smith to, like, recruit someone else and then get him out of the movie, but I think Will Smith, like, made this thing happen. Like, I think it's his show.
You know, also, though, is that, like...
I met Jada and or the other one.
The big difference is when 1 and 2 came out, like, this whole, like, sci-fi movies hadn't, like, exploded. You know, it was before kind of, like, I mean, sci-fi sort of had in the last 10 years just, like, exploded as a genre. I think probably in large part due to Lord of the Rings, but, like... So when Men in Black came out, it was kind of, like, a rarity to see aliens in, like, a funny, crazy movie. But now I think it's, like, way more common. So it stands out a little bit less. It's not, like... at the time, Men in Black 1 was like, wouldn't it be aliens in a movie? Isn't that crazy? And now it's, like... 90% of movies have aliens in them.
There's also all that stuff about his trailer and it being huge and blocking off traffic in Soho. And I don't know, man.
He's just rolling Big Willie style, so I don't understand what people's problem is.
Do you think there's going to be... We got 5 seconds left. Do you think there's going to be a song for this movie? Pat?
Oh, definitely. I think so.
All right, we got to move on. A movie they did actually reboot, Amazing Spider-Man. What do you guys think about that one? Ben?
I think it looks pretty good.
Really?
Yeah.
That is not an opinion I've heard anyone express until this very moment.
I think, you know what? I'm not gonna shit on Spider-Man just yet.
I don't know. Pat, what did you?
I don't know. It makes me feel old that they're rebooting a movie that I was like, you know.
I gotta say, I think Spider-Man, the Sam Raimi one, I'm a fan of his. I don't think it's a good movie. I don't think it holds up well.
I didn't like it either.
That's interesting. I haven't watched it in a long. I loved it at the time, and I particularly like 2, but I haven't watched it in a long time.
They have not aged well. I mean, there's so many terrible things, particularly about the first one. I mean, the Green Goblin looked terrible.
I'm not saying you can't get another Spider-Man. Right. I'm not saying, like, only Sam Raimi can make Spider-Man movies. But doing the origin story again, come on. Like, it's so well known.
I kind of secretly want the movie to fail, because if it doesn't fail, all these properties we've been seeing produced for the last 10 years, they're going to be like, oh, we can just reboot it? Like... let's do another Iron Man with a new actor, you know? Like,
yeah.
I mean, it really does pain me to say I don't think it looks that bad. I think it's like a kind of a no-fail movie, and I think it's going to do okay.
I guess I'm more philosophically against it than, like, against the quality.
I'm definitely more philosophically against it. Even, they're so obnoxious about the rebooting thing, too. Like, the poster, it's like, the tale you haven't heard. It's like, no, that is the exact opposite of what you are offering.
Yeah. I thought I had the same thought when I saw that poster.
And I remember when we watched the trailer, Pat, we were at the office, I think, and you were like, they're even using the same color palette as the other movie.
Yeah.
Like, and it's like, you get the same scene of him in front of the mirror with like, what's happening to me? And that scene was just done so well, like, just not that long ago.
It's that blind sort of denial. I think I see ads for the Spider-Man musical before movies and stuff, and they're like, I like their attitude because it's so that musical is so notoriously bad apparently, or that but they're like there's these ads that are like it's the best thing on Broadway,
it's too big to fail, man. Spider-Man's too big to fail.
That Broadway show turned itself around. Like they're selling it out. Like they leveled it out. Like they're gonna not lose their money on that. Like it's selling out every night now. I think people have stopped falling from it. I guess.
I think also why it seems so disturbing is it makes you feel old. It was what 10 years ago. I mean, if you're 12 years old, you don't care about that first one. I mean, you don't remember it.
But why just do if you could just do a Spider-Man movie where Spider-Man fights the lizard? It's the fact that they're doing like the reboot and redoing the origin. I think that's what gets me about it. Like, what else was rebooted recently? I feel like that this is particularly an egregious example.
Yeah, I think it might be the most recent.
Like,
reboot.
even, I'll give you The Incredible Hulk, which we just talked about. The Edward Norton one, which is a reboot and not very good, and I'm running out of time, but they didn't bother doing the part where he gets blown up by the bomb again. They're like, it's the Hulk. You all know what's going on.
Oh, right.
We gotta move on. Another comic book movie. Ghost Rider 2, which you can tell I made the list because I put it on here. I kind of want to see Ghost Rider 2, and again, it's because of a director. It's from Neville Dean and Taylor, who made Crank, which I love Crank. I think there's like I think it was it's not an accident that Crank is as fun as it is to watch. I think those guys are a demented kind of genius, and I'm interested to see what they can do with Nicolas Cage.
I thought Gamer, which they also directed, not a great movie, but it's their own thing.
It's
like
pretty bad, yeah.
Gamer was bad, but like it's not lazy. Like they thought they were saying something with Gamer, you know? And I like that ambition, and I'm curious to see it applied to again Nicolas Cage and like. And Nicolas Cage also turning into a flaming skull and being that kind of ridiculous.
But it's also that question again of how much of their voice they'll be able to retain when making a big movie like Ghost Rider or whatever.
I will see anything Nicolas Cage is.
Yes, of course.
I'm going to see this. But I do feel like I saw the first one, not the whole thing. But it did give me a headache after a while. Like
it is very bad. I've seen the first one too.
There's so much. There's just
it's better than Green Lantern, but
it is. Well, but that's. I mean, that's the lowest you can get.
It's very bad.
But I'm on board with anything Nicolas Cage does, pretty much. I mean, I saw Season of the Witch.
Yes.
And that was terrible. But he said there's something about him that's still mildly amusing.
You don't get. I feel like Season of the Witch I thought was not very good because it wasn't like a fun Nicolas Cage performance. He was very he just wasn't into it. Like he's so much funnier like Bad Lieutenant when he's when he's shooting for the fences.
The first act of Ghost Rider, the one that came out a few years ago, is pretty fun. It's like Nicolas Cage is like a daredevil, Evel Knievel type, and he's jumping over cars, and he like makes a deal with the devil, and before he becomes a flaming skull, it's like Nicolas Cage at the level where I like him. It's like he knows he's chewing the scenery, and it's really fun to watch him work.
Nicolas Cage might have the most fractured career of any big actor in Hollywood because he has like. He's doing Charlie Kaufman's next movie. He'll do like Adaptation, which is like an Oscar caliber performance. It's amazing. Then other times he'll do like these really boring, forgettable like Season of the Witch things. And then other times he'll do like Bad Lieutenant, which is just a batshit crazy.
With him is not as exciting or charismatic, but Liam Neeson. I mean,
he's getting there.
What is he doing these days? I mean,
he's doing everything. When did he become like the new Bruce Willis? It's insane.
It's like you could pinpoint a movie. It was Taken.
But don't you feel like I almost feel like he did Darkman and then fractured into two alternate Liam Neesons. And
he was in Star Wars. That's like he's
Episode 1.
Yeah, he's there like
But that's
but
like,
who wouldn't do at that point before the prequels came out? Who wasn't going to do Star Wars?
Yeah. If George Lucas says we're coming back with more Star Wars, are you on board?
It's
everybody
like
would.
Episode 1 is like its own galaxy. This you could have a whole other conversation. But you're right though. That's hard to like rectify that with the rest of his career. No, yeah.
Time. Moving on to a movie that maybe Nicolas Cage and Liam Neeson should be in, The Expendables 2. You guys gonna go see that one?
Of course, yeah.
Yeah.
I love the first Expendables. I thought it was terrific.
I didn't love the first one, but I think this one is gonna be better. And I'm more excited about this one than the first one. The first one, to me, there was some pretty boring parts to it. It goes back to what we were saying before about how all our childhood fantasies are somehow becoming true. And of course, I'm going to go, but...
I mean, I think Stallone is the main creative force behind these movies, the person making them happen.
Yeah.
And he deserves like an Oscar just for having. It's such an obvious idea to put like Schwarzenegger and Bruce Willis and Van Damme and Dolph Lundgren. Like that's. I think when we were all 13 at one point we've had a conversation in the woods with our friends that's just like, well, they should do a movie with all of them in the same thing. And then we were all naked during this conversation.
I kind of wanted. I'm a little disappointed that they're just stacking more Expendables on top. Like, I kind of wanted to see, like, different groups of Expendables. Like, maybe the Lady Expendables, and you get, like, Sigourney Weaver and Linda Hamilton. Or, like, Kung Fu Expendables. Like, different subgenres within action. Like, those are, like, the 90s action star.
You had mentioned Linda. I thought Linda Ham was a good idea. But she's not, like, a action... Other than... She's not an action icon, really.
But you know what? It's got to be some outdated, misogynistic, just horrible crew. I think that's part of the allure of the whole thing.
That's part of the charm of the Expendables.
Who's new in this one? They got Van Damme is new, right?
Chuck Norris.
And Van
Chuck Norris
Damme.
is a big guy. But then some of them, like, obviously Van Damme and Chuck Norris, that makes sense. But then some of them, like our friend Chris Hemsworth, I'm sorry if you're listening to this, Chris, we're really picking you apart this episode. I don't know that you belong in the Expendables too. I like Thor a lot. I thought you were great in Thor.
What about Statham and Jet Li?
Statham gets there. We've talked about Statham
makes sense, yeah.
But
he's like
it also makes one of the biggest action stars of all time. I feel like I'm like the poster, but like it's true, he is.
It makes
Terry Crews. Terry Crews is a little iffy. I don't know.
But it's kind of nice. It sort of makes it. It makes it more authentic that like it wasn't Stallone Stallone wasn't just being like, I'm gonna cash in on this 80s nostalgia. He's like, I just want to get. He thinks he's getting like the best action has to offer. So he's like, Jet Li and Steven Seagal are total equals. You know,
is Seagal in this one?
He's not. I think Seagal might be the lone.
Seagal, I bet wants way too much money. He's got too big an ego.
There's no way you don't call Seagal about this. It's so obvious. Like
Seagal's got Lawman, so I think Seagal might be doing better than any of them.
I think Seagal might be.
Think so.
I think Seagal may be the craziest of the set.
I'll give him that.
I like that the trailer ends with like this glory shot of Schwarzenegger shooting. Because in the first one, he just shows up and he's like, "I've got a mission for you," and that's it. And he was in all the trailers, of course, because he's Schwarzenegger in every movie. But in this one, the trailer's like, "This time we got him with a gun."
Well, I think when the first one came out, though, he was like running. He was governor of a state and happily married, and now he's like, I don't give a shit now.
This is the biggest benefit of his marriage falling apart. Is that he immediately he's just like, fuck it, I'll do it.
We gotta move on.
I want to see a conversation though, where like Stallone's just like, "Hey, listen, I'm really sorry about the whole marriage thing, but you know, now you got some time opened up. I'd love for you to be in the Expendables too."
There's some like hack '80s comedian that like once the Expendables, the trailer for that came out, he's like, "I can dust off my Stallone and my Schwarzenegger."
We just have to move on. It's the rules. I'm sorry, guys. But it's a movie that I know at least Pat is excited about. The Hunger Games. Pat, you read the books. I read the books. Ben, did you read the books?
No.
Oh my God, you gotta read the books. They are pretty good, but I don't think you have to read them, but I thought they were pretty good. You can knock them out pretty quick. What do you think about the movie's chances, Pat?
I think I'm very positive. I think it's like, I mean, it has like in terms of chances of being successful, I think almost guaranteed. Taylor Swift just did the hit single from it, which I think is like the icing on the cake.
Thank you for retweeting that. I needed to know.
But creatively, I think I'm very excited about it. I think the books are great. It's more in my wheelhouse of like, I was never that into Harry Potter. I think this is more my kind of sci-fi fantasy. It's a little more like, it's a little darker. It's a little more like, it's more about like a sort of sci-fi that could dystopian could maybe happen someday kind of thing. And and the trailer looked really good.
Ben, as someone who is not familiar with the franchise, what do you think?
I think I'm looking forward to it. I'm actually glad I didn't read the books. I'm looking forward to seeing something totally fresh. No opinion on it. I think it's
You sound like you're trying to cover for why you didn't read them. Like, I'm glad I didn't read them. No, it's good.
I do. There's a part of me that's like, I think you guys are the first guys I've ever met that are like, yeah, you gotta read it.
It's good.
It's basically been like every girl I know is like,
that's
you should read it.
It is mostly ladies.
And
it does have a sort of feeling of like Twilight mimicry in the sense that there's just two guys she has to choose between. But that might just be like all romantic literature in the history of books.
You know what? I'll read comic books all day long, and then but breaking through to the teen the teen like mystical fiction.
YA.
Yeah,
Paranormal YA.
Yeah, I don't know if I've been able to do that yet.
I think my
I
love.
will see the movie though.
My love of just dystopian sci-fi trumped my maybe aversion to teen literature, and that was my entryway into it. But I thought it was great, and also Jennifer Lawrence, who's going to play Katniss. Like it's like just fate made her, because she was in Winter's Bone, and like if you see that movie, it's like, of course that's Katniss. It's like she's this badass woman who lives in the woods. In that
Well,
movie.
I'm glad I didn't read the books. Books are stupid, man. We're talking about. You told me we're talking about movies, man. All right, I can't read.
Oh God.
It's interesting. I'm going to be very interested to see how they do it at a PG-13 level, because the books, even though they're for young adults, are extremely violent, and like teenagers are graphically killed, and it's like important to the plot that they are killed, and there's no like two ways about it. And I think if you like always cut away when one of them dies, that will rob the story of a lot.
So I think the last Harry Potter you saw this. We just saw Tintin. There's elements of this, even though it's an animated movie.
It sucked.
Movies. PG-13 movies are getting a little more. Children's movies are getting a little more violent.
And it's good.
Yeah, you can. I'm into it. Like when
I'm
we were
into it
kids,
too.
I feel like we all
used
were
to be
raised on
more-
slightly more violent kids movies, and like we're all okay.
Temple
I think
of Doom.
Well, I think it's okay. Even Tintin, which I
that's
like.
PG. Temple Doom's PG.
I know, man. That movie's messed up.
But even like, I think if it's applied like artfully, like by Spielberg, I don't even like Tintin, but he knows what he's doing. But I think there's like room for abuse where it's like you just make a violent kids movie that like it doesn't make it.
I think Spielberg could get away with showing like a full frontal cock in a movie, and somehow they would let it go. They
Well,
would be
I think
like,
Pixar-
yeah, all right, that makes sense. Like, could you imagine there was some animated pantsless man in Tintin? I
my
think
God.
they would somehow let it slide.
You don't get it?
Guys, that is time, and I forgot to start the timer for a while, so we actually had a little bit of bonus time on that one. We got to move on to 007 Skyfall. I don't really give a shit about James Bond. What about you guys?
I'm into it. I thought Casino Royale was a great.
I like Casino Royale a lot. I liked it a lot.
Yeah.
And like I said, I don't give a shit about James
And even
Bond.
the Quantum of Solace, which I think people were less into. I thought it was fun. I don't know. I'm Sam Mendes is directing it, who directed American Beauty, and so it's
True Blood.
True Blood. No, that's Alan Ball.
Oh.
Yeah.
Who wrote American Beauty, right?
Yeah, right,
Okay.
correct.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's cool that he's doing it. It's going to be weird, but maybe that's a good thing. I'm pretty bored with the whole James Bond franchise. Maybe I've just done way too many TNT marathons growing up.
Yeah.
But I'm a little burned out. I feel like to get my fix of that stuff, there are better things. Mission Impossible 4, for example.
Yeah, I'm a little, and maybe there's a problem in the room, I always felt a little nerdy for James Bond, because it's always about, like, what awesome car is he driving, and who's the hottest babe in the movie, and I kind of do prefer movies with monsters and aliens. That said, I did like Casino Royale a lot, which I did think was, like, a fresh take on James Bond. And
Yeah.
I was a little disappointed by Quantum of Solace, and I guess I could check this out. I read a little bit about it before, immediately before we recorded, and there was and it's like, Bond questions his loyalty to M, and I wish they just went that Mission Impossible route where, I mean, I haven't seen the movie yet, maybe that'll be cool, but I liked how Mission Impossible, like, it's a sequel, but not really, and, like, there's no, like, it's
They've
never
been doing
gonna
that
get
for a while. With the Casino Royale was like, I think they've been doing that for a while in terms of like, this is not like your average Bond. Like, I think one of the Timothy Dalton ones, License to Kill, he like loses his license to kill. So
Yeah.
they've been like trying to gritty eyes Bond for a while.
They forgot what makes Bond fun. It's not. I don't think you can make James Bond gritty because he's never been gritty in any incarnation up until trying to do it recently. It is dumb. I mean, it's supposed to be shit blowing up and him like getting fucked a lot.
To me, every Bond movie is like a completely blank slate. Like, it has no. It's not like whether the last one was. I mean, the previous Bond before Casino Royale, which is probably one of the best ones, was Die Another Day.
Was that the one with the invisible car?
Yeah, which is one of the worst ones, I think, generally agreed. So everyone's just like, it's always like a new director, often a new actor. So it's like it's a collection of action scenes, and sometimes the person making those action scenes makes an awesome movie, and sometimes it's less awesome.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It could go either way, I guess. It's a coin toss.
Yeah, I don't know. I just Bond just never did it for me, I guess.
We're being super negative in this. I just
No,
realized.
we like some of these movies.
I'm
gonna go see Expendables 2.
Oh, Expendables 2
I
you're
think
into,
we're
yeah.
being overly positive. I will probably see all these movies. Whether I think they're going to be good or not,
Yeah.
I mean, that's another question.
Yeah, I mean, they're realistically, there's 10 good movies a year of this blockbuster of the mainstream the kind of movies we're talking about here. There's only a handful a year that are really, really good. What are the odds all these are going to be great movies?
I also go into a lot of these movies thinking this will probably be pretty bad.
Definitely,
Yeah,
I'll
yeah.
definitely see a movie especially something like this. If it's a week, we're recording this, it's December 30th, and it's kind of a slow week. I've been to the movies more this year than I have for months.
Yeah.
So, and that kind of comes up in the summer too, and you end up seeing, you might see the Expendables too, if the timing comes up right.
Expendables 2, I'm definitely there, maybe more than any of these other movies.
Well, I think the cool thing with the Expendables 2, I think Mission Impossible 4 was the same thing. It's just sort of a pure action movie. It's not it doesn't have a fantasy or a sci-fi element. It's just it's like an action movie from 1992.
Do you think one day they're going to mix they're going to get James Bond and Tom Cruise from Mission Impossible?
Maybe.
And do you think these the Hanna-Barbera Laugh Olympics are going to continue even more in the
I love
Avengers,
Laugh Olympics.
where they just start mixing franchises?
How about Daniel Craig and Tom Cruise are so in those movies are so uncharismatic, Tom Cruise, I love Tom Cruise and I think he's sort of invented charisma as we know it, but in Mission Impossible, he's sort of reining it in there.
I
So,
think
don't
Ben's
know.
right though. You even see mixing franchises that aren't really franchises, like Monsters vs Zombies. Is that a movie? It's gonna be,
I think you're definitely that's some executives listening to this and having that and
All right,
going
James
to take that
Bond
and run
and
with it.
zombies. All right.
Guys, we've been over time for a while now.
Sorry.
We got to move on to the next round. Pat has a chance to clinch it if he uses the bonus word, which he might be able to do because we're going to be talking about John Carter, which is coming out, I think, in March. I think pretty soon. What are your thoughts on John Carter, Ben?
Me, I think very little of it. Immediately, it lost me because they have this in the trailer. They have this green alien that seems so jarring than the rest of the movie, and I don't like that they got rid of From Mars, which is what it was originally called.
It was
right?
originally John Carter of Mars, I think.
Of Mars, yeah.
And I think that some Disney exec was like, we tested it and women don't like Mars. And they,
So now they just have this. It's one of the worst named John Carter.
Yeah.
I thought it was about the Justice League character for a while. I think his name was John.
I think
Carter.
Hawkeye was John Carter,
Okay.
right?
Yeah. One of them.
Yeah,
was.
Kumail, who is very funny, had a joke from, you guys know Kumail, and he had a joke on Twitter that calling that movie John Carter is like calling the Transformers Sam Witwicky.
Yeah, that's funny.
But I don't know. I when we were talking about it before, I kind of thought it had already come and gone. I didn't even realize it's still on.
I'm also kind of lukewarm on it. I know. I know you feel. I'll get my thoughts out and then let you talk because I know you're going to diverge here. I just think it's. I've said this a lot, mostly in your presence, but I think steampunky movies almost never work, and this kind of has elements of that. I don't know. I read there's a great New Yorker profile of Andrew Stanton recently.
Okay, man, we get it. You have a New Yorker.
That's right, that's in choice. But I know you read this one.
I did. And you
And,
wrote an interesting article too, which is why I'm surprised about how you felt about it. But you wrote something for the Yahoo Movies blog, is that right?
Yeah.
About Pixar directors directing real movies about Brad Bird.
That's true.
And yours was
It's
mostly
true.
about Brad Bird, but I assumed your optimism extended.
I guess that profile and then also the trailer made me a little less cautious, and also sort of I don't think it's going to be Andrew Stanton's fault. I think what I was saying there is that these Pixar movies have such great action sequences in them and if you look at Mission Impossible 4, I think that was correct. The best parts of that movie are these awesome Brad Birdy action.
Oh, I don't know. I
like
like the parts where he talks about his wife.
this one. I just think it's just a much bigger machine that I think.
I feel like you could cut the movie. The movie was made from scenes from the new Conan the Barbarian and what is it? Prince Caspian. What was the one with,
Well, I think the aesthetic
Jeff is
looks-
into it, so I want to hear Jeff's thoughts.
Okay,
Yeah.
I think the aesthetic looks kind of unique, you know? And the only thing it really reminds me of is Stargate, which is obviously a long time ago, and like that like
Sure.
aliens plus Egypt type thing.
That's true, yeah.
And I don't know, I think it looks like I do give Pixar directors a large benefit of the doubt, and Brad Bird really just delivered with Mission
There's some
Impossible 4.
Avatar in there too, I think. I mean,
Oh,
it's
yeah,
a
that-
desert instead of a jungle, but
It does look very much inspired by Avatar. In the same way that like Avatar is inspired by Lord of the Rings, just like the scale of it, the scope of the movie, and like the epicness of it, for lack of a better word. And I think it might be good. Do you think Riggins can carry a movie? Like, that's the big question for me.
Hollywood. I mean, he's got 2. Battleship is also, which we're going to talk about, I guess.
We're going to talk about it right now.
Oh my god, good segue.
Wow. Riggins. So Riggins, we're talking about. God, what's his real name?
Taylor
Kitsch from Friday Night Lights.
let's just refer to him as Riggins.
Riggins.
So Riggins is the star. He is John Carter of Mars, and he's also the star of another movie
You just
coming
quoted
out.
the poster. Taylor Kitsch is John Carter of Mars.
But he's also the star of he's fronting another huge action movie with Liam Neeson, who we also talked about, Battleship. What do you guys think about Battleship? Keep in mind, this is from the company that brought you Transformers.
I don't know. I mean, I have no idea what it's about from the trailer. Like, I'm curious to see how they.
Do you think? Well, let's talk about Taylor Kitsch first. I think Taylor Kitsch is a viable like action movie star. I'm looking forward to see him do it.
I will say, yeah, he's quieter. He doesn't really have a tremendous. He's a brooding type. He's not like
Mega hunk. Mega hunk.
mega hunk. You know, he's not like The Rock, where like The Rock. I'm surprised The Rock. I know he's really famous. He should be more famous.
I agree. I agree. I can't say enough good things about The Rock.
I
You know I
agree.
love The Rock. I'm on board with just about everything he does. I want to be his friend.
The Rock has not been in a good movie. And when Pat and I watched Doom, which we did for this bad video games movie show we did, and we watched Doom, and the movie's so bad. But when The Rock shows up, it's not as bad. And I think someone just needs to put The Rock in a decent movie.
You know what? Forget about movies. I think The Rock should run for president. Like, I want him more in my life in some aspect.
I think he's extremely conservative.
He's like, this is gonna sound so weird.
You know, that might push me over that.
You know, Pat and I watched Fast 5 recently, too, and The Rock
amazing.
fights Vin Diesel in that movie. It's so funny, because Vin Diesel's obviously a big guy. When you put him next to The Rock, he's like nothing.
Yeah.
That's the most of all the ridiculous things that happen in Fast 5. Him losing to The Rock is
But-
Oh,
yeah.
we talked about this. You explain it, Pat.
The thing, well, I think I had made that comment. I was like, there's no way that The Rock could beat up Vin Diesel ever. You know,
No. There's no way Vin Diesel could beat up The Rock.
I'm sorry, there's no way Vin
This
Diesel.
is a minor spoiler alert for Fast 5.
There's no way Vin Diesel could ever beat up The Rock. In that fight, The Rock would win, and their characters in that movie. But then Jeff pointed out that The Rock is beating up Vin Diesel. He's winning, but then Vin Diesel, like, he sees his family, his sister, and his the father of his nephew, Paul Walker. Not a spoiler alert. And that gives him like the energy to beat up. So it's only family love that. So you know, it's not really a fair fight.
So it's magic. It's family magic that helps him.
The experiment was contaminated by
The best
Vin
part of
Diesel's
Fast
love of
5,
his family.
I know we're digressing a lot, but is The Rock has these invisible conversations to a side character called Wilkes throughout the movie. 85%.
I don't remember. What was that?
85% of The Rock's lines are Wilkes. Get in the car.
Oh yeah. Oh, The Rock. Yeah.
The Rock is in another Hasbro movie that is also coming out next year, G.I. Joe 2 Retaliation. Rock, they just bring him in, like, franchise needs a kickstart, throw The Rock in there. They
Yeah.
Fast
got me.
5,
I'm
G.I.
there.
Joe, The Mummy.
I'm there. I like that trailer a lot. I think I'm totally on board when the Cobra flags fall down on the White House. I think that looks just like the cartoon.
Guys, you know what? I didn't plan this, but we just ended our last 3-minute chunk. Let's just start another. Let's just do 3 minutes on G.I. Joe.
Yeah.
What do you guys think?
We didn't really talk about Battleship at all.
That's fine.
I think it's terrible. And it makes no sense, and it seems exactly like Transformers.
Hasbro really is conquering the movie world, though. Like,
How did they even call that Battleship?
we joke about it, but like Transformers was Transformers was like one of the biggest movies like of the decade, all 3 of them, and Battleship will probably make money. People seem at least interested in
People don't care. I mean, they make no sense. The stories don't really make sense. Like, character, like, the the robots have beards for some reason.
Transformers.
Yeah, the rules they're very flexible.
They're so bad.
But the GI Joe.
But Hasbro is like a player in the movie world now, and I looked into other movies they're making. GI Joe is going to be big too, obviously.
But Transformers, like, I mean, there's a mythology there. They adapted like Battleship.
Same with GI Joe.
And Battleship. It's like it's a completely blank slate that they've
Have you guys seen one trailer where when Hasbro comes up, people don't start laughing?
Yeah.
I feel like I've seen some like from Hasbro, and everybody starts laughing.
The Hasbro execs were like, "Oh, it's got to say from Hasbro."
It's like a completely. It's not even. It's a completely different medium. It's a completely different like world of objects. It's like if you're like at a restaurant and it's like from the people that brought you pants or something like that.
Because this is based on a game.
So here's some other movies
based on some food.
here's some other movies Hasbro has in development. And I actually tried looking into this. It's hard to tell. I think they just have like 100 feelers out there, and like whatever starts rolling, that's what they're making. So
Let's just play Battle. This is really fun. We should make a movie out of this.
So here are various projects they have said they're going to make. One is Monopoly, which Ridley Scott is attached to. That's happening. Let's just accept that that's going to happen. Right. They want to try to do Clue. Clue, actually a pretty great movie from the 80s.
Clue was a great movie.
Yeah.
Why not? It's hard to imagine they can get lucky and make Clue a good movie twice, but goddamn it, they're going to try. Ouija Board, I think that's coming out. I think Ouija Board, the movie, something about horror.
I digress. Ouija Boards, great Wikipedia page.
Long
story.
I love a good
history.
Wikipedia page.
Yeah.
I'd like to check
The
that out.
Exorcist, I believe a Ouija board is like instrumental in that movie as well.
They're also doing a Risk movie. They're trying to shop a Risk movie. And then this one I thought was really interesting, and I couldn't believe I'd never thought of it before. Magic the Gathering.
Oh,
Magic the Gathering.
That's a great premise.
Magic and Risk are both. I mean, those have like narratives sort of embedded in them and characters and things.
I think
Great
Hasbro.
premise. Yeah, all right. Movies with magic.
I think Hasbro's like their movie making arm is like here to stay. I think. Oh, and Stretch Armstrong's another one.
Okay.
Oh, Taylor Lautner, I think, is going to play Stretch Armstrong.
I'm glad you brought it back to Taylor. Wait. Oh no, I was thinking Taylor Kitsch. Let's bring it back to Battleship. The one great thing about Battleship is that the only great thing about Battleship from the trailer is that Riggins and Landry are not only both in it, they appear to be working on the same battleship. And with that, we have to move on. I think we got 2 movies left here. This is a weird one. Jack the Giant Killer, which God, let me hold on. Before I get on to this, let me start the clock. All right, Jack the Giant Killer. I am already sick of like gritty reboots of fairy tales, and I wouldn't even pay it a second thought. Only reason I'm looking at it, again, the director, it's Bryan Singer, who I don't know that I've ever disliked a Bryan Singer movie.
What was his last movie? Was it
Valkyrie?
The Valkyrie?
I liked Valkyrie a lot.
Yeah, because he's not like a director of jail or anything. So
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm hating so much on here. Like,
Well,
Superman was pretty bad. I mean,
Superman.
Superman.
I don't hate that Superman movie.
But you know, I don't know.
wait, is the new one coming out this year?
The new Superman?
In 2012?
No, it's
Okay.
probably the year after because they got Batman this year,
Right,
I
right.
think. I don't know. Anyway, but another, I don't know. It just seems like Bryan Singer could make any movie he wants, and he's a great director. So if he's choosing to make this movie, surely he has some interesting ideas about how to make Jack and the Beanstalk relevant for this generation.
It's funny to call it a gritty reboot because it's like you're gritty rebooting something that's like 700 years old. Like, this isn't your great grandfather's Jack and the Beanstalk.
I couldn't believe the trailer didn't end with like a really ominous like fee fi fo. I felt like they were building that. But Jack,
I hope there isn't some throwaway joke about fee fi fo fum.
It's hard to tell like how much of a sense of humor it's going to have about itself, if any.
Jack is played by I can't remember, Nicholas Hoult, who was Beast in X-Men First Class, and what's his name on Skins? He's Tony. He's Tony, the main character in the British Skins.
He was the boy in About a Boy.
And he's the boy in About a Boy. And I like him. I liked his performance a lot in Skins, which is a show I didn't love, but I thought he was great on that show, and I thought he was great in X-Men. And I'm interested to see a movie starring that guy. So you could maybe get me to the theater for this. And it's one of like, they're doing this so much. I think there's 2 Snow White movies coming out. Like Snow White. There's one with Chris Hemsworth. It's like Snow White and the Huntsman. And there's one with Julia Roberts. It's like, I don't know, maybe it's called Magic Mirror or something. I
think Game of Thrones might be somehow involved. I think Game of Thrones sort of success and the way it's been embraced is sort of like up the ante for how hardcore you're like into fantasy you can go and want and expect.
Also, isn't there that terrible
in terms of films
to go into TV shows? The series on ABC about
Enchanted or something?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and there's actually 2 of those too.
Yeah.
No, there's Enchanted, I think, and Once Upon a Time, I think, are 2 shows with a very similar premise, like the comic book Fables about like all these fables living in modern day society. This Jack and the
Fairy
Beanstalk one, though, I don't know, maybe.
The trailer looks kind of cool. I'm not gonna. The idea doesn't really excite me at all. But yeah, I'm kind of on board with Bryan Singer. I love X-Men 1 and 2.
And X-Men, and I think X-Men comic books were. When he made X-Men, I think comic books people probably regarded them the same way I'm regarding fairy tales right now. Like no one really was taking them seriously as a subject
of movies.
of movies.
Guy. I mean, other than Tim Burton's Batman.
But that was very tongue in cheek, and his X-Men was like dead serious, you know.
We are on. I can't believe it's finally come to this, and the score is completely all tied up.
Oh my
it's
God.
unbelievable. It all comes down to this. Our last movie of the day. One I'm actually excited about. And one I think everyone's going to be excited about. Django Unchained, Quentin Tarantino's movie, which we're a year away from seeing. It'll be out next December. Django Unchained. What do you guys think?
I'm excited for it. Not even totally for the movie. I just really enjoy hearing Tarantino talk about things. So when he goes on the press junket, I'm looking forward to all his interviews, all the weird ass things he does.
Sure.
I mean, was that? Did he go on American Idol for the last movie release?
Probably.
He does
that
all
sounds like
sorts
something
of
he'd
weird
do.
thing. Like,
Yeah, he
he's
really
just-
does. He loves being famous. And he
And you know what? And he delivers.
yeah.
You know, he always has a good
should be
story. Yeah.
He's also he's just like, and he's also like, he recommends a lot of movies, and like whenever he has a new movie coming, he talks about his inspirations for that, and I'm like writing them all down, like I gotta watch that one.
Yeah, I feel like such a hack when I talk about how much I like Quentin Tarantino, because like it's just
of course,
I'm just like
we all had like Pulp Fiction posters in college on our dorm room walls and stuff, like every other college kid.
But every time he comes out, he really he hasn't let me down yet. I love both Kill Bills.
And he's different. He's like his move, like Inglourious Basterds and Kill Bill is like very different than Pulp Fiction, which is very different than Jackie Brown. You know?
He's almost like the new Woody Allen because he basically gets to put together whatever cast he wants to. And this movie looks like Leonardo DiCaprio is the villain, and I think Jamie Foxx is in it, right?
Jamie Foxx
And he's very
is
well,
It looks like a really
He's
interesting
Django.
cast. Yeah.
it's very fun when one of the funnest parts of when he has a movie in development is like seeing who he's going to cast, because that's I think one of his defining characteristics is like putting together really. He just makes a lot of weird casting, like John Travolta, of course, was that like he revived John Travolta was like he totally revived his career. Pam Grier did it with him, David Carradine. And then he
discovered
Christoph Waltz and Michael Fassbender, who's also like emerging as like another awesome actor.
You know what? I think we are.
And
I think this is a weird gathering, the three of us. I think there are a lot more anti-Tarantino.
Yeah, I know they're out there.
Than
I'm not one of them. Yeah,
Yeah, I don't know any of them.
But the thing with this cast has been very fun because it was like. Also because the subject matter is very edgy. You know, he's talking about like slave owners and stuff. And it was like, I think Kevin Costner was attached at one point, which would have been, it was really, it's just so fun. It's so random who he casts in his movies that who do you wind up getting? It's DiCaprio, Jamie Foxx, Christoph Waltz.
I don't even know.
It's just totally, I mean, it could be anyone.
It's one of those movies, I like, when I make the decision to see a movie, I want to hear nothing else about the movie. I want to like see it as raw as possible. Mm-hmm. So like when Django Unchained, like stills and trailers and whatever leak out, I'll see him over the course of the year, I'm sure, but like I don't like follow development of it. Like Quentin Tarantino has a new movie coming out, just let me know what day I go to the theater to go see it. And it's like that, kind of like what I was saying with The Dark Knight earlier, just I didn't even want to see the first 6 minutes of the movie. Just let me know when the movie's out, I'm there.
Yeah.
I think what's interesting to me
That's
about
why I don't know the
Tarantino
answer to your question,
is,
by the way.
Well, Crockett's in it, right?
Don Johnson.
Don Johnson.
Whoa, that's a good one.
Kurt Russell's in it as well?
I think so.
Yeah.
He's the only
He was
guy.
he was in Death Proof, which I also enjoyed.
I feel like Tarantino has a negative effect on movies for the most part.
In what
I feel
way?
like a lot of people try to use some of his stylistic choices, and they just can't do it nearly as well.
For
and
sure,
it leads
yeah.
to some really shitty movies. I
mean, that was after Pulp Fiction and Reservoir died, and that was the height of that. And there's just like a million like overwritten, like heisty kind of crime movies. But
I still think you can feel it in the zeitgeist whenever one of his movies comes out. It kind of trickles through, and you get kind of some C Tarantino.
Yeah, that's
product.
true, but that's how you know he's good.
Yeah.
That's how you know he's good. Guys, we are out of time, sort of. I mean, we could just sit here. Now we can just talk about. Now we can just relax and talk about movies. The game is over.
With no clock, I feel much more comfortable.
That was what was on my list. Is there
I love Battleship, guys. I'm sorry. The stress was getting to me.
That was what was on my list. Was there anything you guys want to talk about? Movies next year?
This is a sort of a more serious release or whatever. But Paul Thomas Anderson's next movie is coming out next year as well. Like Tarantino, like I will see anything he does.
Yeah.
I think he might be like the best director working today. Like he's.
Is it the Scientology-esque movie?
It is, yeah. Which is like cults and stuff are like a soft spot of mine. So
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that.
Everything about it just seems awesome. And there's a poster of it I saw, and it just said Untitled Paul Thomas Anderson Project before they had a name for it. And I'm like, what other director? I guess Tarantino maybe. There's some directors who would just be like, boom, like just his name on it is enough.
Cool. Well, I think that is going to be the next year in movies. All right, now let's start talking about 2013 in movies. Obviously, you got The Hobbit 2 coming out.
Oh,
You got Neil Blomkamp's new movie.
You got
G.I. Joe.
James Bond vs. Zombies.
G.I. Joe 3.
Guys, thanks so much for coming here and talking about movies.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Thanks for having me. I had nothing else to do.
Thank you guys for listening to yet another episode of the Jeff Rubin Show. Also, thank you for sending in guest suggestions last week. This is the part of the show where I usually list all of the ways where I can tell you when there's new episodes out, but they all also double as ways you can always suggest guests. If there's ever anyone you think would be great for the show, I'd always love to hear about that. You can tweet at me at Jeff Rubin Show, leave a comment on my Facebook wall. I don't know if you can directly get in touch with me with Tumblr at jeffrubin.com. I guess they have this new fan mail thing. You'll figure it out. And, of course, there's the YouTube page at youtube.com/JeffRubin. And I do my best to write everyone back. I'm pretty good at it. Find out how good I am. Write me a message. I'll talk to you guys next week. Bye.